Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Caught on the Mic at a time when so much music feels numb, whispered, and just quiet. Weakened Friends are doing the exact opposite, screaming with a purpose. Their latest record feels like hell is raw, it's urgent, and it's a release of energy that pushes back against apathy, burnout, and modern nihilism. Today, we're talking about impulse over perfection, screaming through the apocalypse, and how freedom became the loudest sound on this album. I am joined today with my Sonia from Weakened Friends. How the heck are you?
Good. We drove 40 hours from Portland, Maine to Phoenix, Arizona to start tour. We're touring on the West Coast, and today is rehearsal day. Shows start tomorrow, so it's a little hectic because I also tour manage for us. So I'm kind of trying to spearhead a bunch of things right now, but good. Overall, good. Yeah.
40-hour trip. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've made the drive from Lincoln to Orlando, and that's 17 hours on its own. I can't imagine the hell of being in a vehicle for that long.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, Annie and I, the two of us did it, and the boys flew in, and we just kind of, listened to a lot of music, and we're used to it by now, just like touring, you're driving all the time. But 4 back-to-back, 10, 12-hour days is a vibe. We did stop. We went to see the Petrified National Forest yesterday. We saw a UFO in New Mexico, and an actual UFO.
No kidding. Where were you at?
We were driving. It was maybe 2.5 hours east of Albuquerque and off I-40. And then there's just this orb glowing in the sky that wasn't moving, and just kind of weird, shot off this weird mist and had these thrusters. Post the video. It's been a whole thing. We've been put it on social media. It's kind of been its whole one thing. But I guess people are trying to debunk it with it being SpaceX, but which is still spooky and still a vibe considering all things. But we just did it, and we saw it, and we took this video of it, and we were freaking out because we're oh my God, it's a UFO. We're in New Mexico. But yeah, who knows? You could choose to believe if you do.
I am going to totally derail this whole podcast. When I was a kid, I lived in Albuquerque for 4 years.
Okay.
And the amount of weird phenomenon I saw as a child,
Sure.
To this day, I still cannot get over. When I was, I think it was 3rd or 4th grade, I was in an elementary school, and the school that I went to overpopulated. So they brought in all these army barracks. So a lot of classrooms took place in these army barracks. Well, we had the fire alarm go off one time, and they gathered all the kids out. We stood in a gigantic circle around the basketball courts, and they had what they call the sun dog up in the air, and it looked like the sun had replicated itself 10 or 11 times throughout the sky. And to this day, I have found no record of it. I have not seen any other phenomenon similar to it. But that's just one small example of the bizarre shit I saw in Albuquerque as a kid.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, it's an area of general, I feel high strangeness when it comes to all that stuff. But we were just pumped. We're this is so cool. I was kind of freaking out. I was what is it? And I don't know whether it's, military or Air Force or SpaceX or an alien. It was definitely beyond my comprehension of aircrafts, which is not much because I'm not in that world, but it was definitely entertaining, and it's been a whole thing. It's been a whole experience. So that made the 40-hour drive feel a little less crazy. Or more crazy, I don't know.
That's awesome. That is amazing. So let's start at the beginning. Mm-hmm. How did Weakened Friends form, and what drew you together as a band in Portland, Maine, not Oregon?
Not Oregon.
Back in 2015.
Yeah, so I was in another band, and I'd been writing some songs over the summer. Well, originally, to start, I'm from Toronto. I'm from Canada. I, through touring with that other band, found Portland, Maine, and was out there a lot playing shows and touring the East Coast of the United States, which was probably the most handy area to Toronto as far as the States goes with touring, or felt like it at the time. And so I was I'm going to spend a summer just writing songs and making music. And Portland's such a pretty little town. And I was with another band. And when I started writing some music, it was obvious that it wasn't going to work for that project. And I didn't know if I wanted to do a solo venture or just kind of do my own thing. And there was just like a bunch of personal reasons that band wasn't really working. And what would become Weakened Friends was just like this like handful of songs I created over that summer I was spending in Portland, specifically to just be creative and make music. And eventually it was like, this is going to be its own thing. That's when I met Annie, or through touring, met Annie, who was in another band, and had asked her to like play bass on the project. And it really just stuck. We really liked it and we're having a lot of fun. And then Portland kind of became home. It was, I mean, this was 2015, 2014. And I feel like Portland, Maine was like this like very affordable, very artsy community. And not to say it's not an artsy community anymore. Affordable, it's definitely not anymore. And so it
Where
felt good just
is
being there.
really?
Yeah, exactly. And so at the time, unlike Toronto, where like everything was getting so expensive and it was really hard to be an artist in that city, at least like I was feeling like burnt out there. This like small town kind of called to me. It was like on the ocean. It's really pretty, and it felt really cute and really unique. So we made that home base and kind of kept the band there and have kept doing it since.
So is there a story behind the name? Does it reflect a philosophy or personal experience early on in the band's life?
No, it's just the worst band name. That's its story. We all like, hate it. I don't know. It's kind of, it's one of those names like I came up with it because like a friend of mine said, yeah, like my friend John's coming to visit. I remember I was with my friend Chris and he was like, my friend's John's coming to visit for a little bit. And I was like, oh, like is he like a good friend? And he was like, no, like he's just kind of like, like a weekend friend, like someone you just kind of would hang out with on the weekends, but you weren't really like close friends with. And I had heard it as saying like a weakened friend, like, oh, he's not that great of a friend. He's like a weakened friend. And it was like my misunderstanding of the term a weekend friend, which now people misunderstand our band name and think it's weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's weekend like hurt. So yeah, sorry, there's been slamming doors happening because I'm in a van. Yeah, it kind of just stuck. And I like had sent it over to Annie to see if she liked it. And I think she just liked me. So she okayed it. And then it was the band name. And now we're kind of just like, yeah, let's stop.
Now the toothpaste is out of the tube and you're kind of
Yeah,
stuck with it, right?
we're kind of just stuck with it.
Dude, I went through that so many times with so many bands I was in. I think the last band I was in, we sat there and argued over like 3 pages worth of band names on a notebook. And then we
Yeah.
settled on this, like this name of an obscure Star Wars character. And we're like, all right, we're rolling with it. 1 year into that band, we absolutely hated it. And we're like, why did we do this?
What character? Not that I'm a Star Wars that I would even know.
Aura Singh, she's a female bounty hunter and she's a total badass.
Aura Singh. I bet Adam, our drummer, would know he's a Star Wars nerd. So, but that's cool. It's still better than Weakened Friends, I think. No, I'm not a fan of
I love your band name. I love your band name. I love the implication. I love the spelling. Like, I love everything about it. But
well, that's very kind.
Moreover, I love your sound.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I like our sound more than our band name. But I'm happy it resonates with you. It's yeah, so people like it. It is what it is. It's the name. It's what it's staying until we're not a thing anymore. Yeah.
As I was telling you right before we started recording, I'd listened to Lightspeed off your latest album, Feels Like Hell, on repeat this morning. Your sound bridges like these alt rock vibes with a modern indie energy.
Yeah.
How has your music evolved from Common Blah to Quitter and now Feels Like Hell?
Yeah. So with Common Blah, again, those were just those like songs I initially wrote. They were super lax. Like, well, not we had a couple EPs before, I guess. They weren't the initial songs, but it was kind of just we went in, we put out these EPs, and then there was like a bulk of songs written, and we went into the studio with the idea to just like demo them and see what we had, and then that just became the record. So it was super lax, super quick, super easy, just like a fun record. With Quitter, we kind of got into the trenches with it. It was COVID, and we had just parted ways with our original drummer, and now Adam, who drums for us, just joined the band. And I think we were just in this point where we wanted to really prove to ourselves that we could like really make like an album that set itself apart and like that we really dive into. And I think we over tweezed it. It kind of became one of those albums where I felt like everything was just like pulled apart a little too hard. And then with the new record with Feels Like Hell, I think we took the skills we needed from doing Quitter and becoming a better band and touring more and just generally just like being better at our craft. But we went back to like the ethos of Common Blah with that really jovial and like free energy, where it was less about perfection and more about just chasing a vibe and having fun and just making a record that felt like us and that felt good, and just like, playing the songs and writing the songs that were like, hell yeah, I'd want to like listen to this, and I'd want to like, listen to this record and have fun with it, versus like being too overly critical and overly like tweezing the record, I guess. So yeah, I think we learned a little bit of everything in the process. It's definitely my favorite record. So.
I overanalyze this. I started this podcast during the peak of COVID. So it's a theme that I come back to commonly,
Sure.
because I think we're always feeling the aftershocks of that experience that we all had together. Do you think the tweezing that you talked about with Quitter was a result of some of the isolationism that kind of came along with the whole COVID experience?
For sure. And everything went away. So you just kind of were in a vacuum of time. You had so much time. Annie, who's an incredible producer and engineer, who's our bassist as well, and has engineered and produced all of our records, I think it kind of just kind of sent her like ADHD perfectionist brain into like a spiral. And it was, she was just like needed it to be perfect. And it's kind of that idea that perfect is the enemy of good. You know what I mean? And it became
Yes.
like, I think it's a good record, but it was hard to make. And again, like a learning, like she's grown so much since even then. And she has this great knowledge of like engineering and recording music. But I think in the production world of things, she's learned so much in the sense of like, you just kind of have to let the vibe happen and not be too overly critical, like where I feel like engineering and production can be two separate worlds. When you're engineering something, you are like very precise, it's very like methodical, and you're diving into every detail, where production is just like ideas and like environment and attitude, and you're almost like when you're a producer, you're almost becoming like a cheerleader slash coach for the whole project. And she really fell into that role on the new record, and it was really incredible because we were just working together and like actually writing together, which was cool for the first time. Like she came in as co-writer, and it was just this really free environment that felt like is really creative and didn't have that like tedium and that like need for perfection necessarily, which I loved. It was really fun.
So much of what you say strikes a chord with me
Mhm.
between all the interviews that I do with other artists, my own personal experience, extract the whole socio-political BS that is going on in the world now and kind of has been going on for a while now. You extract that from the equation. Did feel like 2025 was kind of like a large reset button from the COVID experience. And
Sure.
I know mental health wise as well, even for myself personally, did you feel like Feels Like Hell was that reset button for you after kind of releasing Quitter and kind of the experience after that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was like when we were writing it, especially in 2024, I felt this new reset in
Right.
general. In the wake of Quitter, there were like a lot of moments where I actually ironically thought about going in a different direction and not pursuing music in this capacity, like the touring and, career side of music. And I had like a really terrible writer's block, and things just felt really strained. And we were touring a lot, like not directly after Quitter because of COVID, but like once things kind of, opened back up in 2022, parts of 2021, like we were constantly on tour, and we were like, really grinding that. And it kind of got a little overwhelming for me. And it was like in 2024, we had done a ton of touring, and I kind of just, something turned in me, and I was just like, I want to make a really good record. I want to get to that next level. I want to like make music that, I would love if I wasn't making it, and just like have a really fun time with it. And I want to become a fan of my own art again. Because I think
Yes.
that's something that's so lost at times, is like you get so far into it and you get into like the career mode of it that you forget how to be like a fan of art and a fan of music, and you get jaded and you can get so cynical. And I was just trying to chase that, like, can I be a fan of this? And having that feeling really was something cool. So it definitely flipped a switch to start thinking that way. And here we are.
I love that. I love the honesty too, because I feel like people don't share enough about how that experience impacted themselves. And your exact sentiments about like maybe considering a different direction on things, I think we all had our own version of that, if we're being honest. Your lyrics often explore burnout, self reflection, and modern anxieties. How conscious of that are you whenever you are in the writing process?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm like fully conscious. I mean, writing is so interesting to me because I've never really felt like I go in and write a song with like a purpose. Like I really want to write a song about this feeling. It's more of just I sit down with a guitar and I feel like I'm just like a conduit to like something and the songs just kind of find you. Like if you flex the muscle, if you practice enough and you're just like, I'm gonna just dedicate a certain amount of time every day to like pick up my instrument and like get myself in this creative space where I'm gonna write, I'm gonna create, or I'm just gonna noodle around and nothing comes of it. Eventually these songs find you. Those themes are just things that I struggle with or like that I face daily or I face in general as like a human being on earth and in whatever can I swear fuck this timeline is. It
Right. Yeah.
feels kind of just exist, and a lot of us are feeling that burnout and feeling that sense of just how what is the purpose if like I'm never going to be able to like save enough money and the planet is burning and the government is being overthrown and like what is happening, and it's just the stress of all that permeates into just my mind, and then that comes out through the songs. Like that's the through line of like, that's going to become the lyrics, I guess, for me at least. Like I tried writing happy songs and sometimes those come out and they're fine, but it's just really not how I get my kicks with music writing. I like the catharsis. I like to, the social commentary and that kind of thing.
I love that. I love that. We made the joke a little bit, early on in the episode where talked about you being from Portland, Maine now, but your sound is very Portland, Oregon. It's very Pacific Northwest, and I
Nice.
absolutely love that. So
Yeah.
what album, especially with the themes of, talking about what's right in the world and expressing, how fucked the world absolutely
Sure.
is right now. What album inspired you the most growing up?
Oof. So many. I was actually a really big fan of the band Metric. Again, being out of
Mhm.
Toronto, they're, a Toronto band. And I remember being like 14 years old and getting Old World Underground, which is their first album, and then like Live It Out, which was their second album. I mean, it might have been 13 when I got the first, but anyway, between that age is like 13, 15, where you're really like malleable. And I had already started playing guitar, and a lot of the bands and like musicians around were all these like scene kid kind of emo boys. That was the big thing when I was a kid, and I just didn't really fit into that. So seeing an artist like Emily Haynes, the singer of Metric, on stage kind of just like doing her thing and being this incredible artist, I saw so much of like what my life could be in that. And that was so, transformative to just how I saw music as a career and how I saw art. And so like bands like that, and then just like a lot of just bands that were adjacent to that sort of like indie sound. Like you have like, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were like a huge band at the time too. Or, in Canada, it was just like there was like all these great bands. This band Land of Talk was really cool and kind of moved the needle for me when it came to, music and my interest in pursuing it as a career. Or like Feist was another one. So a very Canadian experience. But it was really cool because like I had like a lot of artists who looked and sounded more like I did, making music around me who weren't just like, a bunch of boys who were kind of not cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I love hearing that as a father of daughters. I love hearing
Yeah.
that.
Hell
Like,
yeah. Like you're a
and
girl
it
dad.
warms. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, and it warms my heart because the thing that I want more than anything else is them to forge their own identity and be their own person without societal norms like constraining them and holding them back. And when you're talking about Metric in particular, I was like, oh yeah, my daughter, she's 18, she just started college. One of them just started college, and she did a band right before she went off to college, and they covered Black Sheep by
Oh,
Metric,
nice.
and it was her favorite song to fucking sing. She
Oh, yeah.
absolutely loved it.
That's
So
so cool.
I love that. Love
It's
that
so great.
so much.
Yeah. We love to see
So
it.
which songs from Yes, yeah. So, which songs from your catalog have particularly strong backstories or fan reactions whenever you're playing live?
Well, I mean, it's hard not to talk about the Torn cover because that got a huge fan reaction. I mean, being on all these support tours, it was, when you're supporting another artist, you're the opener, you just want to put on a good show. You're there to like win fans over. And we toured a lot with this band called Slothrust, who are great friends of ours. Annie's played bass for them. And they always put in a little cover like in their set. Like that's kind of something they've always done. And I've always been apprehensive of covers. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to do a cover. But we were touring with them and we're like, well, their fans like covers. And in the pandemic times, we had covered Torn as like a Patreon thing. And I'm like, well, why don't we bring Torn back? That was like a really fun one to sing for me. So I'm like, let's send it. And it just had this like huge reaction at the live shows, like people just screaming along, like loving it. And it felt really fun. So it taught me to be a little less up my own ass with things and kind of like, just do a cover. It's fucking fun. It's not going to make you any less of an artist. And we put our own spin on it. And so that was really cool. Other songs that I feel like the fans have been like on this new record, especially gravitating towards is there's the song called Queen of Town, which kind of like starts off really just this bass line and vocal, and it starts off slow and then builds. And I was like worried that song would be sort of a speed bump in the set, but people really love kind of the vibe of it and singing along to it. I kind of do like a whole little, somewhat political spiel before that song starts. And then, then we dive in and yeah, that one really resonated with people, and like having people sing, that's my favorite. So having people sing along to that one was like huge and felt really cool. So
Yes, yes. So, kind of along the lines of other artists and like doing covers, collaborations. You had Jay from Dinosaur Jr. on
sure.
Common Blah, and Feels Like Hell has a Buckethead guitar solo. How
Yeah.
did those collaborations come about, and what did they add to that process for you?
Sure, yeah. I mean, with Jay Mascis on our first record, that was our management at the time worked with him as well. But he's like a New England guy. Strangely enough, like our drummer Adam like fixes a lot of his music equipment in his studio and stuff like that. So now it's kind of come full circle where they're like they know each other and are pals. But with Buckethead, he was playing at the State Theater in Portland where I work. And we kind of he started like chatting with me and asking me questions about just like what to do in town. We became kind of odd friends, which was cool. Yeah, these collaborations are fun. I mean, like I would collaborate with more people. I think it like pushes you, and like having these like creative people around you who just like have their own craft. Like that's how I'm inspired. And like I love like getting to chat with people and like what their creative process is and how they view their art and their music. And then just like having like to be able to like collaborate and share that process, you just like grow and you learn a lot, and it's just like fun for the fans, and it's just like fun in general. So I've always loved that experience.
Is there a dream collaboration that you have that you want to do?
Yeah, I would love to collaborate with St. Vincent, which I know sounds like, but I feel like that's everybody. Is that everybody's answer? I don't know. I think Annie Clark is like St. Vincent's like so talented and so cool, and like such a cool vibe, and just like also like an incredible rock guitarist. So like I mean, we're already collecting a bunch of virtuosic guitar players. I wouldn't mind one more, and that would be, I think, a really cool collaboration. Putting it out there.
Yes. Yeah, manifest that shit,
Yeah, why not?
So, right. So, how does your music shift live? Like, are there any memorable tours or crowds that reshaped your view of the band?
Yeah, I think getting to tour with Slothros was a big change. That like crowd was very much like a crowd that would like our band a ton. We'd done a bunch of other support stuff, but like those nights felt like we were playing to people who were really just like taking it in and like appreciating it. And now a lot of those people come out to our shows. And that kind of just changed my perspective. And I don't know, I think something clicked in me where like it became less of just like I'm here to just play my songs in front of people, and more like I'm here to perform this. And we've always been like a high energy band, but it's like less about the energy and more of just like, I'm on stage, like who am I when I'm on stage, and like what is that story, and what is like almost like persona is like a weird thing to say because it's still very much me, but like locking into that. And I think being able to play in front of that crowd gave me that comfort to like lock into that, because they were just such a lovely, like receptive and really just like into it and interested crowd. Like shout out to our friends in Slothrust for curating that community and like letting us play all those shows with them. That was like really special for us and helped, I think, get us to a place where I feel like we're more confident in who we are and what we're doing. And yeah.
Yeah, I always found that being on stage, you're not necessarily slipping into a character, but you're becoming a more heightened and more honest version of yourself.
Sure,
Maybe the
yeah.
person that people don't see in those quiet moments. So after Feels Like Hell, what's next?
Well, we are right a little bit, so probably just more touring until the next record. So hopefully we write the next record. I don't know. I'm opening myself up to the universe of creativity and hoping some more songs find me. So I'm like a little antenna, just trying to suck them in and then get them out.
Amazing. And as you said, you're in Arizona,
Yeah.
so you're rehearsing for an upcoming tour.
Yeah, so we start tour tomorrow. We're doing a bunch of West Coast states. Still for Feels Like Hell tour, and we booked a little like sketchy rehearsal studio out here and are about to do that. And then tomorrow we play a Valley Bar here in Phoenix, which is a cool spot. And then we kick it off. We do like a 3-week run all out this way. So
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm not going to hold you up too much longer because I know you got to get in and start rehearsing. But my closing question that I like to ask every single guest that does the show is, given your experience, particularly with this band and this project, what's your advice for making the world a better place tomorrow than what it is today through your eyes?
throw your phone in the ocean. Like just smash your phone. And I think we need like a mass blackout event without technology. And I know that would probably cause, this is gonna sound so nihilistic, probably cause like a mass extinction event because honestly, like I think people are just like lost without technology. But it feels so nice to just like not be such a like, having to like be on your phone constantly, that stuff. So yeah, your phone away, read a book, go outside, breathe some fresh air, talk to your neighbors.
Do you feel as an artist that has a project to promote and such that sometimes even you are enslaved by the perils of technology now and social media and everything in between?
Yes, but at the same time, it is really cool to just like put something silly online and like have a bunch of people reach out and like build a community. So it's like there's two parts of it. Like we're
Right.
like some days I do want to just throw my phone into the ocean and like go grow potatoes and do that for a living and not be so tethered to all of it because there's a lot of bad stuff on there. But then on other times I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Like we connected with all these people and did this thing that we wouldn't have been able to do had it not been for, social media and that. So yeah, there's kind of like there's pros and cons. I guess it all depends on the who's you, right?
Yeah, it's the dichotomy of two evils. Like, because I deal with the same thing all the time. I'm like, man, if it wasn't for the podcasting
Mhm.
environment, I wouldn't have all these cool experiences. I love creating content. I
Yeah.
love sharing videos and clips and all of that. But on the flip side of it, it's like
Yeah.
the garbage in sometimes can kind of become garbage out, and I just would rather not be
Yeah.
online. Also, so I get it.
It's like how you use it, right? Like I've been better about like as a tool, like I've been trying to use it as it connects me, like be in the group chats with friends, like, I listen to the podcast, like
Mm-hmm.
listen to music,
Mm-hmm.
look at some art. Like it's a great tool, like figure out what's going on in your town and your community and being like, what can I go to and what can I go experience that's interesting. But I've been trying to be less about like the doom scroll and like just like the mindless like looking at it or the feeling like it's the first thing thing I have to see when I go to bed. Like I'm just trying not to be so tethered to it. Just making a conscious effort to like not just look at my phone to have to like fill my brain with something. Like I've truly like another thing to change the world is like allow yourself to be bored. Like I can't stress that more. Like boredom is a place where that breeds creativity. Boredom is a place that just breeds like yeah, like you can be productive in your boredom just for yourself and not for like someone else or another reason or like to put it online. Like be bored. Like you can be inquisitive, you can appreciate things more. Like take it slow, be bored. Like it's it's great. I like sometimes I just like to sit with nothing on and just sit with like I don't know if most people don't want to sit with their thoughts, but like sit with your damn thoughts. Like sit with them, daydream. Like I love a daydream. Like daydreaming, looking out the window of a car, just daydreaming. It's great. I used to do it all the time when I was a kid, and I'm trying to get back to it. So it's unbelievable the cool, creative things. You can go anywhere. You can go fucking anywhere in your mind, right? So, yeah.
Yes, I love that. Why don't you tell all my viewers and listeners where they can find Weekend Friends online?
Well, we're all over. We're Weakened Friends. Weakened like someone hurt you. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I think still. TikTok. Is it called Twitter? Are we on Twitter? We don't even update Twitter really.
I don't touch it either.
We're on YouTube. We're on. Yeah, I don't remember last time. I mean, maybe we're on there. But I don't remember, maybe I think the last thing we tweeted, if you even do that anymore, was like this site sucks. But yeah, Instagram, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok are our most active places.
Dude, I love this because we are one in the same. Those are the only two social media networks that I really use at all anymore. Sure. Facebook, because I'm obligated to. I deleted my ex account, and then I had to restart a new one, and then I'm like, fuck, I don't want to maintain this. I also have my own personal reservations about using X, so I won't do it. Yeah. So, and I'm sure we're probably on the same page there. Yeah. But I have really enjoyed this conversation and getting to know you, Sonia. And I want you to know, like, anytime you guys want to come back on and do another episode, the invitation's open.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for having us. I'm sorry that it's like from the van with like doors slammed out, but thank you for getting me out of having to load all our gear in. I didn't help at all, and I feel bad. I feel like I'm doing the classic lead singer thing where I'm just like, all right, guys, I gotta go do this like press thing. You do this, go lift the stuff. But at the same time, I think I don't know if the conversation would be as fruitful if I did it with you. So I guess I had to be there. It had to be. Sorry, couldn't lift the heavy things.
Thank you so much. The world's a much better place with you in it.
But yeah, no, this was really cool. So thank you so much for having me.